Hi, I'm Mitchell Kilkenny, Tobacco Prevention and Education Program Coordinator for Douglas County. This is Vaping and Schools. Let's get into it.
It was like a couple days before the last day of school, so like everyone was pumped because it was almost summer break. My friend, he asked me, he's like, "Can you bring your vape to school?" And I obviously said yes because he was like one of my best friends. Since the vape wasn't mine, I had to grab it from my brother's room. So in the morning, I snitched the vape and put it in my backpack. I took it and I went in the car like, nothing going on here.
This is one of the most popular things that we see. When we ask students, where do you get your vape device? The number one answer is from friends and family. If you are a mom, dad, person that students look up to or around, make sure you keep your vape devices, your nicotine products, if you choose to use them, secure area. If you're an adult using these products and you don't want to have unauthorized access to these products, you can lock them up so kids aren't using them. When you set that example of you're vaping all the time, you have these things around, it becomes very socially acceptable. It's really important if you are a parent or a guardian or someone out there who does vape and you use these products, have a talk with your child and say, hey, this is the reason that I do this. I understand that it's probably not good for my health. Here's some reasons. In fact, we even have some great toolkits if you check out DCSmokeFree.com on how to start that conversation. Those conversations usually go very, very well.
I get dropped off and then I go up to the front gate and my friend's already waiting there for me. So then we went into the school and tried finding a place for the vape. Like the hallways were like crowded with supervisors and the bathroom was the only way. So me and my friend went into the bathroom while my guy friend and his friend stayed outside and we started vaping. And one of my friends came in and says, "What are you guys doing?" And I blew the smoke right in her face. And then after that, we left and went into class. Little did I know, the girl that saw me vaping actually went to go snitch on me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very nice. I don't think many people want vape blown in their face. I mean, my parents used to smoke when I was growing up, and it was like, I just wanted to hang out with them and talk to them, and then they're smoking, and it's like, this smoke was terrible. It wasn't pleasant or fun to be around. And even now, when I'm walking in a big crowd of people, I can smell the cigarette smoke. I like physically hold my breath. So write down in the comments if you also do that too. Is that just me? Is that weird? I don't know. Also, the other thing to note, which is interesting too, is that vape does have secondhand vape. Like that is a thing. We think of it more so with cigarettes because secondhand smoke is a really big deal. And that's why we have laws like the Indoor Clean Air Act, especially here in Oregon, and really all the other states where you can't smoke within 10 feet of any doors or windows or ventilation units. And that's because back in the day, people would smoke inside, they would smoke at the bar. We had a lot of exposure to secondhand smoke. And we know that secondhand smoke does cause harm and it does cause disease. We see higher rates of heart disease. We see high rates of asthma and lung issues and lung irritation. Vapes also do contain harmful secondhand smoke components. So when we look at this in studies, we look at what is actually exhaled in that aerosol, and we find all kinds of things in it. And so while a lot of it is burned off, it's not exactly equal if you were to hit the vape itself. They're still there. And so even though it does smell fruity and it smells nice, when I smell fruity and nice, the things that I think of is like I'm inhaling these terrible like components and heavy metals and all these things that are probably somewhere in the aerosol, and I want to try to keep that out of my body. So, the nice thing is don't blow smoke in people's face. That's not the nicest thing to do.
She went up to the office and reported me. So then I was in class and a supervisor comes in the class and goes up to my teacher and talks to her. And then the teacher says, "Where are you, Roxy?" And then I raised my hand and the supervisor came up to my desk and she was like, "Where are your things?" And I told her, "These are my things." They weren't really my things. They were my friends' things. Because obviously, if I said my backpack was mine, the vape was inside of it. I went up to the office walking with the supervisor, and then I walked into the vice principal's office, and she was telling me that I got reported for vaping and that she needed to pat me down and to look into my stuff and everything to make sure if I had the vape or not. She got suspicious and asked me to tell her the truth, like, where is the vape? And I told her it's in the classroom, and I told her it was in a backpack. And then they brought my friend up and my backpack, and that's when my friend confessed to saying that my backpack was the one that she had in the backpack I brought up to the office was not my backpack, and that's when...
Yeah, it's tough when you have these big lies that can kind of compile, and then you have to have more lies or you have to confess to the truth. I think in my experience, lying hasn't got me very far ever. And oftentimes it's way more troubled alive. One thing that's interesting though is they had to like pat the student down and like check for the vape on the body, as a lot of schools these days are implementing vape detectors in the bathroom, because where else are students going to vape? They're going to vape inside the bathroom. These vape detectors are silent alarms. They go off, and then teachers or principals or administration staff will get these alarms, and then they're hustling to the bathrooms trying to like find the student. And typically there's a big group, so it's hard to decide where is the student, who's the one that has the vape, is there multiple vapes, like what's the deal. I've talked with a lot of these administrators who do this work. It's not very fun. It's really not fun to pat students down. Obviously, you're not going to strip search students. Like, nobody wants that. That's just not ethical or cool. Like, we don't want to do those things. And actually, in Oregon right now, there's this bill in the legislature that's trying to mandate schools to install vape detectors in all the bathrooms. There's no strong evidence link or basis for having these. We're not seeing better outcomes. We know that punitive things don't work great in that aspect. And we'd much rather have conversations about vapes. We'd much rather have awareness. We'd much rather talk about the harms and empower folks who aren't using these vapes to speak up and say, hey man, like, that's not cool. Like, we don't really want to smoke in the bathroom. I don't want to come and in the bathroom and have to breathe all this fruity air in. I think if the bill supporting that schools have to get vape detectors, or mandates that schools get vape detectors, I think it would actually put a lot more pressure and harm on schools. One, schools who already are strapped for funding are going to have to fork over funds to install these things. Secondly, they're going to have to have a plan to enforce these things. We already have lots of issues with students being suspended from school. And so, in fact, a lot of the times, schools will have like a no tolerance policy, to where if a student gets caught with a vape one time, they're suspended. And it could be for 5 or 10 or 15 days. And then what do you think happens to that student? Do you think they go home and think about their decisions and decide not to vape? No, they go home and they vape more and more and sit there and miss out on school. And typically these students are already, struggling or need additional help. We're punishing these wrong things and not getting them back on track, because ultimately we just want to support students to the best of our ability. We want students to succeed. We want students to learn. We want students to graduate. Like, those are the things we want. And we want to figure out how we can get them there using the best tools available.
When the vice principal got really mad and started saying, I cannot trust you anymore. Like, you really disobeyed me. You really lied to me. I'm not able to trust you anymore. So then that's when my friend left, and I was in the office still, and she was saying she's going to have to email my parents and tell them that they had to come pick me up because I got suspended. So then when I got in the car, I was crying, obviously. And my brother was just ranting at me. And I got home and I got my phone taken away. I got grounded for the whole summer. Just stayed in my house doing nothing. And no phone. So I was just pretty much sitting on the couch drawing or doing whatever. And that definitely taught me a lesson to not bring a vape to school anymore. And yeah, don't.
This student had a pretty big experience where she got a vape from her older brother, brought it to school for a friend, and a friend reported her for it, and she faced some consequences. And ultimately, through those consequences, she decided that, vaping isn't a good thing for her or for herself, or especially to take it to school. I would really encourage students to not vape at all, to really not try this stuff. If we're being honest, if you try it one time, is it really going to be super harmful for you? Probably not. It's similar with alcohol and other things. Like, just one time you try this, it's not going to immediately cause cancer. At least that's what we see from the evidence so far. But we know that the issue is it doesn't take that many times to become addicted to it. And part of my job is to help people quit. And I love that part of my job. I love to talk with students. I love to talk with adults. We have a great smoke-free pregnancy program where we help moms who are pregnant or planning to become pregnant quit smoking. I love to work with the entire population and help them quit, but really, I am much more successful helping students to just not start.
Take a close look. This student is outfitted with vaping devices, but you can't see them. Why? They're designed to look just like normal school gear, for sale online and in vape shops, giving kids new ways to hide their vaping habits anywhere they go, including school. Superintendent Melissa Varley oversees the Berkeley Heights School District in New Jersey.
It's virtually undetectable. We don't know if a student is vaping in a classroom.
So would you know what to look for?
Yeah, it's true. These products come in, these tobacco products come in a wide array of devices, from USB pens to highlighters to hoodies. We've seen it all. We know they exist. We know that these are often predatory marketing tactics, typically designed for youth. Let's be honest, not many adults want a sweatshirt that's also a vaping device. But I would say from my experience, when I talk with adults who vape, they prefer just a regular vape. I have not seen a lot of adults go, wow, I really went on my way to buy this thing because it was fun and I could smoke at work.
We're going to plant these hidden vaping devices.
There's one.
And bring in teachers and parents and see just how well they do at spotting the vape. I get to work. Here's one that's designed to look just like a black marker. Stashing stuff all over the classroom. So this guy looks like a USB. It's not. It's a vape. And on students, too. Sophia looks like she's just wearing a regular hoodie, but underneath, a vaping device. Some vapes even look just like school supplies. Looks just like a pen, but the vaping device is inside and you can write with it. I'm Vicki Wynn with the Today Show.
It's nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Miss Moretti.
Okay, Miss Moretti.
Yes.
We want to know if you can spot the vape. So, we have outfitted this classroom with vaping devices. Look high, look low. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
You get 1 minute.
Okay.
All right, here we go. She spots a couple of them.
That device that Dom's got there,
But breezes right past most
I think that could be.
before time runs out. And that is time. How many of you had a vaping device that she spotted? 3 items. Not bad. How many of you actually have vaping devices? But she missed 11 of the 14 items we hid. Some teachers spot a couple of the more obvious ones,
That looks like one, too.
but most miss the harder to find items, like this watch. Sam is wearing what looks like a smartwatch, but if you press this button, this part comes out. You can fill this with nicotine and it's an e-cigarette.
It blends in so nobody would ever know.
All 5 teachers missing this vape backpack. This one's got a hidden device right here in the strap. And the hoodie.
I think it's ingenious marketing, and I'm a little frightened.
This could be happening right under your nose.
Absolutely. It could be happening in my house. I have a 15-year-old.
Wow.
So now, no hoodies.
Even this school aide,
Yeah,
a
take away
retired
hoodies. More
police officer,
restrictions.
missing the watch and pen. Parent after parent also mistaking the decoys for vapes.
I was pointing at this one, but that looks fairly suspicious as well.
That's just a marker. And they confuse the real vapes for regular items. What did you think this was?
Didn't even think to look at that. Probably a marker or an eraser or a highlighter.
The most any of our volunteers spotted, just 5 of the 14 items we hid.
Do parents need to be more invasive in their kids' stuff? Not really. Like, let's just talk with your children. Let's be like, hey, this is what's okay in my house. At 5th, 6th, 7th grade, that's when a lot of students are going to be exposed to vaping. They're going to be exposed to these nicotine products. And unfortunately, that's just a reality of the outlook of life today. Many students are going to choose to use these products, experiment with these products, or try these products. They're very prevalent, they're very out there, and they're very accessible. And so it really takes a great conversation with your child to talk about these things. And just that one conversation alone is going to be highly instrumental into helping your child get through these tough times, get through these difficult experiences. Because if you're in school and you're not sure how, and you get offered this for the first time, you don't know what it is, you don't know anything about it. 1, that's scary, right? It's scary. I don't know anything about this thing, and now somebody's offering it to me. 2, I would rather be informed. I'd rather be like, hey, I know what this is about. My mom talked to me about this. My dad talked to me about this. My guardian talked to me about this. I've had multiple conversations with multiple trusted adults. And I'm prepared with the tools to have this conversation, to tell my friend, hey man, that's just not cool for me. I remember being in school and I remember not having these tools. And I remember having to try to navigate those things on my own and trying to fit in. It's a tough time being a kid. It's really hard. You have to navigate these social skills. You have to navigate education and learning and testing and all of these things. And it's like, man, how great would it be if I had one 5-minute conversation with my mom about this thing, and she informed me what I should say, what I should do.
Yeah, we reached out to the Vapor Technology Association. They told us they don't approve of underage use of these types of devices, and they're working to raise the purchase age to 21.
Yeah, so in Oregon, actually, the legal age to purchase tobacco products is 21. And we can all agree that we should get this out of the hands of kids. You know, if you're an adult and you decide that you really want to do it, go for it. It's available. You know, again, my public health preference is don't do something that's going to harm you in the long term. But the interesting thing is that we actually know kids who aren't exposed to it early on, and students who actually make it through high school and really through the end of college till they're 25 or 26, typically don't get addicted to this. If you make it to 25 and you've tried tobacco products once or twice, or even after 25 and you try them once or twice, your brain is much more developed. You're much less likely to become addicted long term. The other thing I want to touch on is that a lot of these products aren't just nicotine, they also contain marijuana. We know that the legalization of marijuana has had an increase in accessibility among these products. And so actually just last year, we went through all of the vaping devices from all the schools, and I actually went and collected them, and I have this big bag of all these products from the schools. And you'll see them throughout our commercials. In fact, we have a Halloween commercial coming out where you'll see a whole big bag, and all those vaping devices were from schools right here in Douglas County. Many students are using these THC and marijuana pens during school, and these are also causing problems, causing effects during learning, affecting motivation, and all kinds of other things. So they're not always just nicotine stuff. They're also marijuana use as well. And so when you're having those conversations with your student, make sure to talk about THC, talk about marijuana, not just nicotine. They're going to be exposed to all of these products, and it's important to talk about differences. What do they do to your body? And again, if you're interested in some of that information, check out DCSmokeFree.com/facts, where you can see all about the facts. We also have a whole campaign page you can check out with different quotes of like, how do you tell your friend that I don't want to use this stuff? How do you say that in a way that doesn't make you sound lame? We have lots of fun ones you can pick from, and some of them you might not like. Some of them might not be for you, and that's okay. Pick a couple or a handful that you think would fit for you in different situations, and just have that. Practice them with your mom and dad. Maybe that's part of your conversation. Pick a couple of these things and practice that while you're having that conversation. That's going to lead to, again, better conversations, better resources, better tools for your student, your kids, to deal with these problems that they're gonna have. And that wraps up this video for DC Smoke Free Reacts. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.